Towards the end of August of that year, 1949, I went out by train to Chicago, and then from Chicago up to Crystal Lake. And they picked me up. I got there to find out that Dominic wasn't there. He wasn't there. Why? Well, because the local pastor, Dominic, had started sponsoring pilgrimages from people from Chicago, because he had built a shrine to Our Lady of Fatima. And he was encouraging people from Milwaukee and Chicago to come to Crystal Lake on pilgrimages to honor our Blessed Mother. And the local pastor thought that Dominic was robbing him of money from his parish, because the people from his parish were going out on these pilgrimages to Marytown. And he raised a big stink about it, to put it mildly. Bishop Hoban, who was a good friend of Dominic, but he said, Dominic, he said, you can't stay here anymore. You've got to go somewhere. And so Dominic went to Chicago and was staying at the House of Studies. And at that time, we had another house on the lake shore, not far from the present House of Studies. But at that time, we had this house on the shore. So Dominic was there, and they took me down there to see him and so on. But in any case, we had to start looking for another place for Marytown. And we tried many places, and I remember I was going out with, I think it was Brother Martin and Brother Raphael, checking out various places that might possibly serve as a place for Marytown. And I remember we would drive through Libertyville, Mundelein, and stop and visit the church here. And one day, as we came out of the church with Father Dominic, because they had picked him up from Chicago, and we were checking out these various properties that might possibly serve as a place for Marytown. So as we came out of the church here, of the Benedictine Sisters of Perpetual Adoration, I was walking down the stairs with one of our brothers at that time, Brother Leonard Vella, and Dominic behind me said, someday this place will be ours. And I couldn't understand that. I thought he meant, someday we'll have a place like this. That's what I thought he meant. And Leonard next to me said, what did he say? And I said, well, he said, someday this place will be ours, but I think he means that someday we'll have a place like this. Well, I forgot about that until some years later, when I suddenly remembered that Dominic had made that prophecy, that someday this place would be ours. I didn't believe it at the time, but at any rate, it happened. In the meantime, Raphael found a place in Kenosha, Wisconsin, a farm there, and we ended up buying that farm, and that's basically where I had my novitiate in 51, I think. I entered the novitiate at Marytown in Kenosha. And one day, Father Cyril, who after his term of office as provincial was up, then he took over. In the meantime, in 1951, I think it was 51, Dominic had died of cancer. And Cyril took over as, well, Cyril actually took over as superior of Marytown while he was still the provincial, because there was a lot of opposition from the province to Marytown. And so Cyril was backing Dominic, and Dominic in the meantime had contracted cancer and died in 1951. And so I was there. One day Cyril came to me and he said, Bernard, he said, would you like to be a priest?